We're holding a ceremony for those who died during the Lost City battle. Please take a flower.
Bye, have a great time. Oh, fuck.
Over the years here on MMO Byte, I've popped in on occasion to cover the most random MMOs to release. Today is no different. As of June 14th, or 15th, okay, it really depends on who you're talking to, UNDAWN dropped onto the scene. On the 14th, Steam had it scheduled for release, but as many Steam users who weren't following the Twitter, main website, or any other information other than the launch date provided by Steam suspected, it had launched, but only contained the character creator. This was, in fact, a pre-launch to create your character, with a full launch planned on the 15th. But not before reviews swelled in a negative tide against it on Steam due to the lack of a fully functional game. However, once you get beyond the character creator in UNDAWN, it is a free-to-play open-world survival MMO that you can play right now on your mobile device, the PC client, or Steam. The game is developed by Lightspeed Studios and published by Level Infinite, which we are all becoming very familiar with lately. Now about that character creator that confused so many people for the actual game. To be fair, the creator is pretty darn solid, especially for a cross-platform game that is clearly designed for mobile players. You're presented with presets for Caucasian male and female, Black male and female, and Asian male and female. However, the presets of these three is not locked to your choice. You can make either the three in each of the presets, so click whatever gender you like and you can create whatever you want in whatever preset. There is a very detailed editor for facial customization that allows you to play with varieties of makeups, lashes, hairs, and tattoos. Unfortunately, body has zero customization beyond weight. Once inside the game, you'll quickly realize there's also a variety of cosmetic outfit customizations for your character along with vehicles, accessories, and guns. I mean, who wouldn't want to kill zombies with an anime garnished gun? But yeah, right, there are also zombies in this game. The premise of the game is that you're thrown into a zombie-infested post-apocalyptic world with Will Smith. Yes, the Fresh Prince himself, portraying Trey Jones. We'll talk more about him later. There's a lot to cover with this. It is your job, along with your fellow players, to survive and fight back against the overwhelming onslaught of undead in PvE and PvP. And by overwhelming, I mean in the open world it's kind of underwhelming, but thankfully in instant content, they are more challenging. I only died once in the open world, and that was because I intentionally fell off of a tower to see how it felt to die, which admittedly sounds a little morbid, but in retrospect, nah, it's fine. It was for science. Upon dying, you'll need to run back to get your stuff as quickly as possible, or so it states. I presume because your items can be looted by other players, or it disappears after a set period of time. Instructions were unclear. Either way, there are zombies, baddies, and even nature out in the open world that tries to kill you, but they really aren't very difficult to handle. I got hit by lightning. That's a part of the weather system, and it kinda tickled. The main focus of the open world seems to be mainly gathering. Like in any survival game, you'll need to chop down trees, break rocks, fish, fondle some shrubbery, dig for treasure, kill animals with a bow, or in my case a gun, because that seemed more logical because I have a gun right here. I can shoot the animal. It's quicker. Of course, like many survival games, you'll be posed with the most difficult feature of all, inventory space limitations. Yes! an inventory that doesn't progressively expand as you continue throughout the game. You must take back your goodies that now burst forth from your inventory to return to your homestead, which will be cluttered with bookcases to hold all the useless things that you can't utilize right now due to your limitation of 2,800 mats a day for refining base materials and only 1,400 for advanced materials. The housing system is actually pretty solid. When you're first dropped into the game, you fight off a horde of zombies attacking a large camp of survivors, so naturally they reward you with your own cabin in the woods, far, far away from them. You'll be able to essentially build to your heart's desire with all the comforts of modern life, such as refrigerators, TVs, treadmills, toilets, and so much more. There are even templates for builds if you're lazy like myself and just want to flop something out that's cool. You can move this home to other locations in old neighborhoods, beaches, and so much more. You can also have a house that's affiliated to your camp, aka your guild, that also has another location, and this camp home seems open to being raided by other camps, which is something my server is below the level cap for at this point. I'm not 100% sure how this works. If you should feel so inclined, you can get yourself a roommate. By roommate, I'm doing finger quotations here because you'll need to work on your relationship with them, and if you ever get tired of your roommate, you can file for separation. And that's not a euphemism for smothering them in their sleep. You can legitimately file for separation. This is an integral feature. As most of us know, good roommates are hard to find and they tend to take your stuff. You can even tend to your little farm outside that will provide you supplies to cook with, as it's imperative you eat and work towards unlocking recipes and increasing your cooking skill. It is also imperative you pee-pee poo-poo too, which at first is worth a laugh, but after a while pooping in random places with a full-on toilet on demand, it gets a little old. You'll also need to maintain your hydration, hunger, fitness, hygiene by washing your clothes and bathing, and even your mental health. At one point in time, they even have you speak with a counselor because you're not okay in the head, man. I mean, there's zombies out there killing people. I'd crack too. Thankfully, hunger is the only thing that really seems to deplete quickly. Also, not only do you have HP, but you have another HP bar, and they are separate entities. One you'll need to be using healing packs for, and the other health you'll need to use meds for, because reasons. So not only do you have health, but you have health, mental health, physical health, and so on and so forth. All of this is monitored by this really high-tech device that you just carry around with you, and it'll ping you with this little Apple Watch looking icon, occasionally reminding you that you need to work out or get more ammo. Overall, the system is fine and an interesting one at that, but I mean, I thought my Fitbit in real life was the only thing that annoyed me to be healthier and move more, but apparently it's in games now. Hooray for innovation! Beyond housing and taking care of yourself, there's the actual fun and meaty part of the game, such as PvE and PvP. The combat itself is a little clunky if we're being honest. The mouse sensitivity isn't the best despite trying to adjust it on my end since I can't on theirs. You can't re-keybind some things and others you can, which makes it really hard for me since I'm not the best at moving around my keyboard. I also can't seem to swap easily between melee and my gun without hitting Alt to get my cursor, go up and click the menu and then change it, then re-hit Alt and make my mouse disappear. Otherwise, it's okay, and I'm still able to find enjoyment in the combat, but don't expect top-tier shooter combat here. Within each map are strongholds you'll be able to participate in. These can be done solo or in a group and range from easy to nightmare. Most of these are barred until you level or move through the story. These instances usually progress the story in some fashion. You can even do events like Hold the Line, which is a solo adventure where you basically take on waves of zombies trying to break down a door. Most other events are locked behind days and times, which can be very frustrating and is very mobile. There's PvP events that's 4v4 and 12v12. There's PvP events that can feel a little pay to win, as people can and will have better gear than you just from using the shop. So just be aware that when, you go into PvP, and hopefully your team carries you if you are doing this free to play. Or there are PvE events where your team of 4 goes up against a bunch of zombies. Also, in more formal PvP events, it looks like you'll need to do this on your mobile phone because, as they stated, fairness. People were quite upset by this because they were training and gearing for this big PvP event that was going to happen, and then on the day and time of, it suddenly was like, by the way, you need to get on your mobile phone to do this. You cannot play as a PC player. So is this game really, truly a PC port, or is this just, I don't know. It's not a, this wasn't very well done, but you know, here we are. Fairness reasons. Anyway, as you level, you'll be able to do a weekly fight that will take 4 people through a mall of zombies and eventually face off against a big boss. This was probably the hardest thing I encountered so far, but this is where I also noticed that aggro is a thing in the game too. Typically, I was the one dealing the most damage in my groups, so the bosses would standardly stick to me. And the only way I could stop and reload or heal would be to wait for mechanics from the boss, or to stop shooting entirely so someone else could take aggro off of me for a second. There are even little events like bonfires, fishing events, camp fights, and so much more I probably haven't even gotten into yet because most of these events happen at 9 p.m. for me, and only last for 30 minutes and happen 1 time a day. I have things to do on Dawn. Please fix this. They are fun events, but I don't have time for that. You can also do other side quests that don't give you any XP, but do give you fun little stories like saving a squirrel. These will reward you with crafting materials, titles, items for your house, and sometimes outfit pieces. You're just kind of doing the side quests for shits and giggles, honestly, and including a chapter booklet that gives you activities to accomplish. Probably the most rewarding thing you'll get out of this is the whole crafting material and money. I did mention that there are limitations to what you can do based on story, which is locked behind your level. When you start hitting time gates is around level 30, then the story will unlock again at 40, and then 50, and I presume so on and so forth. You have a limit to your daily XP gain, your daily refining, and your dailies. But luckily there are a lot of things to do in the meantime. Mainly because you'll also need to wait for your server to catch up in XP too, as there are caps on level progression based on your server's average. I'd say I've been able to level around 1 to 2 levels a day, so if you aren't a fan of story locks and XP locks, this probably will not be for you. If fighting isn't for you, you can work on your roles. Roles including logger, miner, gatherer, hunter, chef, angler, and scavenger. There's still 3 more that have not released, which is Firearms Master, Highwayman, and Troubadour. Every role I mentioned before is pretty much self-explanatory beyond Scavenger. It's a little different than you think. So you can go and pick locks, none of which I've really found yet beyond the story, so that doesn't count towards your proficiency. Or you can go work on your begging, and this is where it gets interesting. You can set up your shop wherever, pop a squat, and just throw out some voice lines requesting supplies or money. Some of the thank you animations are a little odd, to say the least, and some of the voice lines are also a little odd, such as offering warm beds and being a good girl. I'm not saying you're offering prostitution, but it sure looks like it. When testing the feature, I found that 99% of my catches were male players and typically accompanied a private message. Please keep in mind, my name in the game is MRSSSTIX, and that doesn't deter the wanting. I will say though, I became at least 10k silver richer by begging just for a few minutes. The social aspect of this game is also quite interesting. You can grow friendships with people just by visiting their homes a couple times. I have quite a few folks from our Discord playing with me, but sadly on different servers. But I also was able to basically become companions with one of our members because I sent them a couple paper cranes and visited their house a couple times. Guess I can propose to them now. You'll also be doing a lot of dancing in this game, like a lot. Dancing at bonfires, dancing at an orphanage, dancing at a retirement home, and if you aren't doing the dancing thing, you're eventually unlocking the ability to play instruments for others to dance to. This game is literally a 24/7 dance party, and I'm pretty sure I drove STIX crazy with the music that came with this. The monetization in this game is without a doubt a very mobile one. The shop system has gotchas for outfits, furniture, and other knickknacks. You can purchase crafting items to continue making better gear because the gear, which you make from what you collect, is RNG. Your gear can be from common to legendary when crafting. This includes armor, weapons, pieces of weapon, and drone pieces, which all affect your gear score. Everything you craft will have additional stats, so Some give you crap and others will give you useful stats even despite being a legendary. So people that are spending money, getting the battle pass, and generally shoveling out money are going to be stronger than you because they'll be more likely to be able to have unlimited craftworks and resources. You'll also see deals splashed across your screen and reminders for deals popping up occasionally. You even have a scorecard to remind you how crap you're doing at spending money because your gear score is low and you don't have the resources to craft more items because you reached the level cap for the day on refining. It is one big grind, and if you're gonna do this totally free to play, get ready to grind a lot. Probably the best purchase I made was the 99-cent one because it gave me a legendary weapon right out the gate and I was already immensely stronger than the people around me. This game is honestly wild to me, and the reason I am invested is because I legit cannot stop laughing at the crazy things that happen. Around 10 minutes into the game, a full-on musical number happens from one of our main potentially wooable NPCs. Then we meet Will Smith's character, who basically offers candy to a kid to come with him. He shows up randomly in the storyline to give a girl a new puppy because her dog died, and then he'll pop up at your camp's bonfire and offer you candy and drugs to get high on. I am not making this shit up. I'm honestly curious if Will Smith is aware of how they are portraying him in this game because I would not have signed that deal. Then you meet someone with what I assume is dissociative identity disorder, and our way to fix his mental disorder is for him to mentally fight his evil self in his head, with his good poet side trying to win while Here Comes the Bride is playing, which ends up like this.
The love of my family I did not get, so everyone shall have to rue my needs unmet.
In the end, the psychologist asked what we thought of our experience, and we said it was hilarious. I cannot express to you how much of a ride this game is. From scenes where my eyebrows are missing, to zombies who are supposed to be the key part of this game make no noises really and come out of nowhere and attack you. This game is a mess, but a funny mess that is definitely not without entertainment value. Some other annoying things that transfer over from mobile are the UI, the chat windows and the scrolling text across your screen, and Camp World announcements. Also, the servers for America are shared between South and North America, so it's very hard. No matter what server I rolled onto to find any other English speakers, I couldn't find many of them. So it made communicating with my teams extremely difficult, especially in the hard weekly fight. Oh, and also the mic system here is constantly shoving in your face and asking you to turn it on, so it's very easy to just leave your mic open and not realize it's on. I had to listen to this guy in my party for what I assumed to be 10 minutes just singing about eggs, and I couldn't figure out how to leave the party and mute it, but eventually I did figure it out. It's a far cry from Game of the Year, but it is a game. If you have nothing else to play, I mean, go for it. It's free. You're going to laugh. And if you don't, clearly Will Smith needs to come slap some humor into you. This was MRSSSTIX, logging off for now. Bye!